Please welcome Greg Case of Aon, Horatio Rosansky of Booz Allen Hamilton, and Christine Romans of NBC News.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's already been a really just an exciting day. So we've got an amazing conversation here about the promise and the risk of AI. We've heard a lot in these sessions about the promise of AI. We have a great panel here to discuss the risks. And you have two very different businesses, but you both handle the risk of artificial intelligence in different ways. Horacio, I want to start with you. Booz Allen Hamilton is the largest provider of AI and cybersecurity to the U.S. government. I know what that means, but I know you love to answer the question, what is it exactly that you guys do?
Oh, it's a long answer, so let me simplify it. Think critical missions and critical areas, national security, healthcare, critical infrastructure, and then think AI, cyber, 6G, quantum. We work at those intersections. We build technology that can be deployed into those missions, which is actually pretty different from deploying them into more traditional private sector missions. So we leverage what's out there from the best companies in the world. We partner with a number of them. And then we build on top of that, we add it to our technology stack, and we deliver for the American people.
From the seabed to space, you operate.
Pretty much.
You say that the world is not ready for AI cybersecurity risks. What are you seeing out there in that broad mission that you have that concerns you?
So 2026 is going to be, is already, we're seeing it. The whole announcement about Anthropic Mythos is one data point on a long chain that began building last year. But 2026 is a highly complicated year at the intersection of cyber and AI, because AI as an attack vector, both as its own attack surface and also what it can do to people's networks, to people's infrastructure, is further ahead than what the defense side of it looks like. We tested the tool in our lab that can actually crack a network in under 10 minutes. If you think about it, it takes 2 weeks. The CISA standard for patching is 2 weeks. We're talking minutes. And then we have built a set of agentic tools to defend against that. But the agentic tools to defend are not as far along. And the attacker has an advantage right now, because if you're a nation state that doesn't follow international law, and there's plenty of those, or if you're simply a criminal enterprise, you can put something out there, and if it causes harm that you didn't intend, I guess you don't care. If you're on the defense side, you do care. You're not going to put something on your network until you're absolutely sure that it works, and a lot of these tools are too new.
So you see AI as essentially a force multiplier for bad actors in the cyber world?
Over the long run, AI, I'm a techno-optimist, and I actually believe that AI is going to transform the world and our national security for the better, and we're beginning to see that too. But at this point, the cyber risk is quite significant, and we're in a race with China, and a race we simply cannot afford to lose.
Let me bring you in here, Greg, because you handle AI from you are a risk company and a people company, but a risk company, risk management for the AI data centers. Tell me about your business.
Well, listen, step back a little bit. Christine, Horacio, it's great to be up here with you. Looking forward to the conversation. And listen, very much appreciate your comments on the cyber front. Absolutely true. From our standpoint, we see massive opportunity here. The opportunity in AI, as Horacio was saying, is phenomenal. But it's got its challenges. First among them is the cyber opportunity or risk, if you want to think about it. By the way, just for reference, Aon, if you don't know Aon well, we match capital with risk to reduce volatility in the world. And we do that in every way you can imagine it, and physical assets with people, et cetera. So that's what we do. We're matching capital with risk to reduce volatility. In the case of AI, we have an opportunity around sort of the infrastructure that's being built just to support it, which is not just substantial, it's the most significant we've ever seen in the history of the world. And that brings with it a whole series of challenges. The construction process that's going on right now has never been seen before. The risk challenges against that are astronomical. The cyber pieces that might come out of it, just for reference, cyber market from an insurance side is about a $15 billion market against a potential $1 trillion loss exposure. So the markets don't fully understand it, which is why capital doesn't come. Capital doesn't come unless it thinks it can earn a return. If it doesn't understand risk, it doesn't come. That's why it's a $15 billion market. From our standpoint, we're looking at what's out there and essentially saying, look, this isn't just about the hyperscalers. This is the scalers, the builders, the money that's coming in, and the banks. That ecosystem is sort of what we are looking at on an integrated basis. If we can help those get built and operate, remember, operate when business interruptions could be measured in millions of dollars a minute. If we can help operate with less volatility, that's value creation. So from Aon's standpoint, we see tremendous opportunity with accompanying risk, but tremendous opportunity from a standpoint of looking at it from an integrated risk perspective. If we can accomplish that, we can do some things that would be quite remarkable. And that's how we look at it.
I'm interested that siting these data centers must be just a phenomenal undertaking. There's risk in that, and there's also political risk also in the siting of these data centers. How do you factor all that in?
Well, listen, from our standpoint, this is kind of what we do. We've been looking at all aspects of risk from an analytics standpoint, really for decades. That database really, gives you a view on where you build these things matter massively. By the way, it matters from the standpoint of just physical risk, catastrophic risk. Wind blows, earth shakes, all these things, wildfires, all these things matter. By the way, at a zip code level, literally down to sort of siting around the world. How you build them matters. How you build them matters. Not just what's inside, but the box and all the things that come with it. All the things that surround it in the community, the sentiment, all the pieces, all those things matter. So all those things have to be factored in. And then understand we are talking about an ecosystem. I described before, the scalers, the builders, the money, the banks, and wrapped around energy and wrapped around water, all the things that come with it. And if one can actually reduce volatility in the context, you're actually creating value. Who gets the value? Scalers want the value. Builders want the value. Money wants the value. Banks want the value. How do you think about that? These are all the things we do as you sort of think about how this is coming together. So it really is an integrated risk view. That's really, last point I'd make on this, has to be done from the beginning. If you do this part way, you've lost the plot. You've got to do it from the beginning to get the value out of it.
I know that you guys in your workforce for years and years have been using some of these tools, but in terms of where we are with the data center build out, this is all still new. There's not really a corollary, is there, in history to this kind of investment?
There's no corollary whatsoever. I mean, from the standpoint, we're talking trillions in a period of time we've never seen before. That's going to stress every aspect, the building piece, the operating piece, the insurance marketplace that we live in, and we're at the beginning of the beginning. And again, there are thousands of data centers in the world. We probably do 40+% of the data centers around the world. Maybe more than that, but this is different. This is at a scale and a pace that's fundamentally different. And we've got to get the integrated risk view right, or we actually run a tremendous amount of risk of the operating characteristics that are going on after they're built. So this is the overall piece. And we've loved this gig from the beginning. We put the first NVIDIA chip into a pathwise application of Aon in 2009, right? So we've been seeing this from an opportunity standpoint forever, but this period of time is different.
I want to talk to you a little bit about China. You mentioned China, and you service clients all over the world, Greg, at Aon. The United States government is your biggest customer, right. And you are unapologetically pro-American about making sure the U.S. wins the AI race. Is the U.S. winning the AI race, and what happens if it loses to China?
Look, I just want to grab the opportunity theme because I think we have to have the risk conversation. We have to have the two-horse race conversation. But we have to have it in the context of the opportunity that's in front of us. The opportunity that's in front of us is for every company to transform itself into a better, more successful company. The things that we're doing with AI, we're agentifying now, were unimaginable 5 years ago. And it's opening entire new markets and entire new doors. And the work that Greg and his companies do to enable all of that is absolutely central. Which takes me to the point of the race between the US and China. The most critical question is how do you measure it? And I think at the end of the day, all of these new technologies get measured by the rate of adoption. If you look at the input side of it, the US is clearly still ahead. Our models are stronger and better. I get a report every month about what our models are doing in the US and what models are doing in China. That gap is closing, but our models are still ahead. We have a clear advantage in chips because we have an advantage in lithography, and that is going to be an enduring advantage at least for quite some time. It's a good debate about who has an energy advantage and who doesn't. It's probably cheaper to build in China than it is to build in the US, and that creates an advantage there. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a race for adoption. And the thing that I worry about is China and the US have taken two different paths in terms of this technology curve. The US companies, our frontier labs, are trying to build the strongest, most powerful models, trying to get to AGI first, if you will. China is focused, like they always do in technology, on delivering the cheaper models, the models that actually cost less to operate. The token values are now 6-to-1 between a US frontier model and a Chinese model, and so that is going to drive adoption around the world. And that is not a race we, as America, can afford to lose. So I'm super excited when I see us as a country come together into a national cyber strategy, come together as consortiums of companies that don't naturally fit together if you don't think about it differently, to actually advance American industry in this area. The biggest advantage that we have in this race is not the chips, it's not the data centers, because those are all going to be obsolete within a decade. The biggest advantage that we have is the workforce, the quality of our talent, and ultimately the strength of the American innovation engine and economic system, which I think is the way which has led us to win races so far, and it's going to help us win this one too.
What about government oversight and regulation?
I think, like every new technology, first of all, we need a clear inventory of the what exists and the regulation that is there now. I mean, if you think about it, AI is a set of highly sophisticated algorithms, but algorithms have been around for centuries, and we've been regulating those. And so I think we need to be a little careful in terms of how many more layers of regulation we put on top of this. We need guardrails. They're important. These technologies are evolving very fast and they're very powerful, but we cannot put them in a place where they actually limit our country's competitiveness. Because, like I said, I mean, if we don't do it, the Chinese will, somebody else will. And at the end of the day, the thought experiment that I always like to run, this is sort of the dinner thought experiment, is think about what the internet would look like if China had invented it. And think about what the world would look like if China had invented the internet and built it around their framework as opposed to our framework. And do you really want that to happen to AI? I think the resounding answer is no. So we need to be very thoughtful. We need to regulate certain aspects of it, but we cannot do it at the expense of speed.
I want to ask you quickly before we move on to the people aspect of this, but in an expanding global conflicts, Iran now, you've got Ukraine and Russia and other non-state actors around the world. How are we using artificial intelligence in national security, and are we using it well?
We are. It's very, somebody mentioned yesterday we're in the second inning. I think we're in the first inning in the use of AI for national security. But if you think about it, every application that demands autonomy, which is everything in space, everything underwater, everything that needs to happen at very, very fast speeds, whether it's in the cyber domain like we were talking about, or now with autonomous drones, is going to be the realm of AI. And again, I think the US is making tremendous progress. I think this administration has unleashed a ton of really powerful progress, but we are so early, and there's so much more to do. And we need to be very thoughtful, but we also need to be aggressive.
Let's talk about the people part of it, because I know that there are a lot of CEOs and a lot of parents who are worried about a lost generation of talent, because in the very early going of AI, maybe there's just efficiency and we're just going to wipe out a lot of jobs. Where do you stand on what the job impact will be from AI on the talent pipeline?
Yeah, on this one, I'm going to react and let's get Horacio's view on this as well. And I'll come back to your point. This is a firm and a partner who's in the fight every day. And he said talent. He mentioned talent. Mm-hmm. We haven't heard a lot about talent. We haven't heard a lot about people in this conversation. We have not. And again, we are massive supporters. 2009, NVIDIA chip application. We've got $1.3 billion sort of into this program in 2023 before it was cool to do that. This is the biggest investment in the history of our industry. We have 60,000 Aon colleagues privileged to work with every day. We don't want 30,000. We want 60,000 more effective. And as we watch clients evolve and what they're up to, where Horacio took us to, I'm going to make explicit. We are not talking enough about people, period. It's inconceivable that a winner in the application of AI isn't going to lead with a world-class people strategy. Inconceivable. And how do we do that? How do we evolve that? How do we take specific steps to actually train, retool our colleagues so they can be effective in this environment? That's going to be the unlock. An enabled capability that we've never seen before. An enabled capability by people. So for us, we get pretty hyped about this. Again, we're risking people in development overall. And the last point I make around the early careers. The idea you would pull back on early careers I'm dumbfounded by. You take a skill-based assessment, you're very clear about what you're looking for and how that's going to evolve over time, and you hire based on skills. There should be opportunity here for everyone, as opposed to, my gosh, we need to pull back. It's exactly the opposite one want to do if one wants to magnify the way Horacio is describing.
Well, I guess that means that leaders have to lead and understand that they need to be redeploying the talent they have, not laying mass layoffs, right?
Well, this is back to, if you're about pure efficiency, stand by. The winners are going to, of course, drive benefits from that standpoint, but they're going to drive growth. They're going to drive capability building. And so in the end, you're looking for the irony is we're at the beginning of the AI fight. Who's fighting over talent? Who's fighting every day? Who's the headlines on talent? It's the AI hyperscalers, right? They're fighting over what? Talent. And we should all be digging in on how we can actually do the work to hire skills, colleagues, in a specific segmented-based way as opposed to what we've done before. So we have to evolve ourselves as we think about how we bring in, identify talent, bring in talent, train talent, retain talent. That's got to evolve. But my God, what a better investment would we make to be successful in an AI world if we can enable it through better talent strategy.
Yeah, so your message is an AI strategy has to have a people strategy with it. What are you finding?
No, I want to build on that. I think these waves of technology are accelerating. And you want to build a workforce and a talent strategy that actually allows people to transfer from one to the next. We took a lot of our analysts and we trained 5,000 data scientists. We took most of those and trained them to be AI professionals. Agentic wasn't in the vernacular 2 years ago. We're now training by the thousands people on agentic. Quantum is around the corner. Physical AI is the next thing we're going to start talking about in the next 6 to 12 months. And I think you cannot afford to take your best people and not give them the opportunity to stay ahead and stay with these technologies, because it's like throwing away your best resource, your highest resource. And so every company is going to have to do that. We're going to have to figure out how to do it as a nation at scale. Again, there's a White House AI education initiative that makes a ton of sense to me. In my mind, universities aren't doing enough on this topic.
Really?
Yeah, because I think, again, if you think about it, you go in for a 4-year degree in computer science. By the time you graduated, whatever you learned your freshman year was a waste of time. We're talking about now cycles of 6 months, 12 months, and we need to completely rethink that paradigm if we're going to be successful as a nation, and if we're going to get in front of the truth that this is a transformative technology, and like all transformative technologies, it is going to transform the workplace. There's a lot of doomsayers. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think it can transform the workplace for the better, but it has to be part of an evolving and systematic way of doing it that has to start at the company level where we're all experimenting, but at some point it has to translate to the national level.
Let you have the last word.
Well, what Horacio is saying here is, this isn't about parity. This isn't about including talent. This is people lead. Talent leads this story. You can't win here without a world-class talent strategy. Now, that doesn't mean the one we had before. It means an evolved talent strategy, a skills-based talent strategy, as opposed to thinking about across computer science. We're spending time with employers around skills-based programs, which the skills change over time, and you're hiring people for the different skills. By the way, some have a college degree, some don't. We do apprenticeship programs that are really skill-based apprenticeship programs. All we're talking about is we need to evolve the people aspect of this as much as we evolve the AI aspect of this to lead the program. If we do that, be clear, both of us are describing massive opportunity here to amplify, massive opportunity to amplify, and that's leading in growth as well as leading in efficiency. Real opportunity.
I know we have 20 seconds, but you acknowledge there could be some disruption before the transformation.
Every transformation brings with it the seeds of disruption and the seeds of opportunity. And I think that we are working together, and many others are too, to drive the opportunity faster than the disruption.
Thanks. Great
Thank you, Christine.
conversation. Thank
Thank
you.
you.